In the year 1162, deep beneath the eternal blue skies of Mongolia, a child entered the world, with a blood clot clenched inside his tiny fist. To his people, this was not an illness, it was a prophecy, a sign, that this boy was destined for greatness. But no one could have imagined how much blood would follow his name. This child would become the most feared conqueror in human history. A man whose empire stretched farther than Rome, farther than Alexander the Great, farther than Napoleon. His armies would shake entire civilizations, cities would burn at the sound of approaching horse hooves, kings would kneel before him, and millions would die in his shadow. His name was Temujin, but history would remember him as, and yet, history remembers monsters very easily. Understanding them is far more difficult. Before he became emperor of millions, Temujin was a starving child. His father, a tribal chief named Yasugei, was poisoned by rival enemies, and with his death, everything collapsed. Their own tribe abandoned them. Their horses were stolen. Their food was taken away, and his family was left alone, to die on the frozen Mongolian steppe. There were no palaces, no soldiers, no royal protection, only hunger, cold, and betrayal. One day, his older half-brother Begtur stole a fish Temujin had caught. To us, it sounds small, but on the steppe, food meant survival, and survival meant power. Temujin said nothing, no shouting, no warning, only silence. Then one morning, he and his younger brother Khazar followed Begtur into the grasslands. Slowly, carefully, patiently, a bow was raised, an arrow pulled tight, and at just 10 years old, Temujin murdered his own brother. The arrow struck. Begtur collapsed into the grass, and Temujin did not look away. But on the Mongolian steppe, mercy could mean extinction. Then, everything changed. Temujin met a young woman named Borte, and for the first time in his life, he found peace. But happiness never lasted long on the steppe. One night, while the camp slept, raiders descended from the darkness. Horses thundered through the camp, flames rose into the night sky. Screams echoed across the plains, and before Temujin could stop them, Borte was taken. Everything had been stolen from him once again. What followed next was not simply conquest, it was military revolution. They conquered with fear. Entire cities surrendered, without resistance. At night, every Mongol soldier lit multiple campfires. Enemy scouts looked across the hills, and believed an endless army had arrived. Then came the whistling arrows, arrows designed not only to kill, but to terrify. And finally, the tactic that destroyed entire kingdoms, the false retreat. The Mongols pretended to flee in panic. Their enemies chased them across the open plains, believing victory was near. But suddenly, the Mongols turned back. Perfect discipline, perfect timing, perfect destruction. But every empire casts a shadow. Historians estimate that Genghis Khan's wars caused the deaths of nearly 40 million people. Submit, and live, resist, and vanish. Then, in the year 1227, after decades of conquest, the conqueror finally fell, not inside a palace, not upon a golden throne, but inside a simple tent, on the Mongolian steppe. His burial place remains unknown to this day. But whether feared or admired, one truth remains undeniable: the modern world was shaped by the thunder of Mongol horses.